Crude oil prices are about $105 a barrel this morning. They reached about $120 before falling after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised he is holding off on any more attacks on an Iranian gas field. Let's bring in financial advisor Clark Geranen into the conversation to learn more. Thanks for being with us, Clark.
Hi, Garcia. Happy Friday.
Good morning, and to you. All right, the International Energy Agency is calling this the largest supply disruption in history, but we're not seeing rationing like we did in World War II or back in the 70s. Why is that?
So this time is different, and one of the main reasons is that the U.S. is now a net exporter of oil. 50 years ago, we were an importer, so we relied a lot more on other countries for our oil. And so over the past 60 years, we've actually seen 7 other instances that are similar, seeing spikes in oil like this. The first 5 did cause a recession. The last 2 haven't. And I think a lot of that is because we have less energy dependence on other countries. The other thing is that consumers are spending a lot less of their overall spending on oil. Right now, that's about 2% of their overall spending, whereas 30, 40, 50 years ago, that got up to as high as 7%.
Wow. Well, so we really shouldn't be complaining as loud as we are, but we'll keep doing it. Analysts say that the current supply issue is unlike anything we've seen before, but there are a couple factors, Clark, that appear to be working as something of a shock absorber.
Sure. So a couple things that we've seen as shock absorbers are that we do have this massive influx of oil here. So we are able to rely on that as a supply, whereas in the past, we were solely reliant on getting that oil from other countries, such as the Strait of Hormuz. Obviously, oil is traded on a global market, so the price aspect we can't hide from. The hope is just that the inflationary effects moving forward are going to come back down much quicker than they have in the past.
All right, let's bring this down to a super granular level. We've heard from rideshare drivers who say it's costing me more to do my work because gas prices are so high. Clark, how are you seeing energy prices kind of ripple through the broader economy?
So it does have a major impact. Just this morning, I saw $6 gas and $7 diesel, which is really unheard of. So whenever you see a price impact like that, 20 to 25% more than it was a week ago, that's always going to have an impact on somebody's bottom dollar and on their wallet. So you hear it all the time. We hear it from customers and clients. People are concerned about what's going to happen moving forward. But we do really need to remind everybody that, especially if you have investments, that you do need to stay invested for the long term, because usually you see some of these pullbacks in the market. And if you miss the best 10 days of, say, the past 5 years, you would have lost out on 70% of the gains. So making sure that you keep your investments invested and just try to make do over the next few months if the war continues that long. And I think, like I heard Sal say, maybe some people are staying home to try to avoid paying for gas.
Yeah, well, for sure we're carpooling. But, they used to say, don't open the envelope that comes from your financial, institution. But now it's like, don't click to check your balance. Clark Geranen, it's nice to connect with you. Thank you for your expert insight on this topic. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon.
Thanks, Garcia.
Okay, we'll take a short break.